if I just focus on who I am and what I can bring to this and just throw all the thinking out the window. That's the man. This here, like this can run us crazy if we focus on our heartbeat and just slow down and breathe, and just forget about everything else. And I think that's the key to just locking in on the scene.
Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. We are going to dive into acting insights, meet industry pros, and master the business. Don't forget to subscribe and share. We're keeping you behind the scenes and ahead of the game. Hey everybody, welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. So happy that you're here. We're going to dive in with an incredible guest today, but quickly I just want to say that we can look on the back end and we have so many views. I'm so grateful for all the views and comments and reviews. However, it says that like half of the people watching are not subscribed. So this is your chance. Make sure to subscribe. If you're not subscribed yet and you're like on the fence, then when you begin to love this episode, then that's your sign. Well, everybody, I'm excited to talk with, an old buddy. Not that you are old, but we have known each other for a while now. Rico Ball, incredible actor, everyone. What's up, Rico?
What's up, Jesse?
How are you, man?
Man, I'm great.
Dude, it's good to see you. Good to have you. And bro, and this really like is going to bring us into this. I remember taping you, dude, like we've known each other for like 12 years back when we were running the Bungalow Productions and you were coming in to tape in like in our what seemed like a maybe Texas Chainsaw Massacre house, right?
It was my favorite place to tape too.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
man.
it was.
But I wanted to ask you, as someone who books, dude, I mean you have over 80 film and TV appearances. How has your auditioning kind of evolved from like when you were taping with us to like where you're at now?
Wow. Sometimes I could feel a little lost without you guys, right? But I always remember, the key things that I've learned. And I've also grown as far as for arcing scenes, really taking the time and being more patient. And I've grown tremendously, not since you guys, but honestly, I can say because of you guys.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Definitely.
Is there any kind of along the way, I don't know, like walls or blocks that maybe you've had to like fight through that, some other actors might be struggling with that you kind of found your way to step over or break through? Yeah,
I remember when we first met, right? The business was transitioning from go-sees to self-tapes.
Yeah.
And I struggled a lot with self-tapes in the beginning because I relied a lot on my presence. I could walk in a room, I could take over a room, I look everybody in the hand, I would shake their hands when I wasn't supposed to. I could just kind of win the room over before I even slayed it. So that was kind of my thing. That was what I would rely on because I probably didn't possess all the skills that I needed in the audition room. So at the time, because I was still young and I was still growing, but once the game transitioned over to self-tapes, I had to really dive in. I had to study a little bit. And once I learned, how to make it my own instead of trying to make it what I think everybody else wanted. And once I learned to relax, breathe, take my time, and make it mine, oh my God, it just took off from there. Now I have fun with self-tapes.
That's so good, man. And like, how do you feel like you got there, right? Because I do think, even though you probably hear it in class, you just got to make it your own. You got to bring yourself to it. There's this sense of, well, what would the detective look like? What do they want to see as the detective? Like your mind just goes there. So how do you feel like was there like a moment or was there like something you heard? Like what, all of a sudden you're like, wait, I get it.
This is a touchy question, man. I had some out-of-body experiences, studying for auditions a couple of times. I remember I would go lock myself in the closet, and I had this one particular out-of-body experience that's just kind of hard to talk about, but I'll make it short. I was auditioning for, was it Selma? It was one of those films, it was a timepiece.
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to meet with Coretta Scott King. And I'm in my closet, I'm going over the scenes, and then, boom, like something just happened, bro. And everything was in black and white. And I walked into this diner. I remember the black and white checkered floors. I remember the pictures on the wall. I was walking slowly. Coretta Scott King was at the table. Her bodyguards was with her. And it was just this weird experience, man. And then after about, I don't know how long, it just felt like I was there forever. And I was like, okay, I'm ready I'm ready to get out of here. I'm ready to go back. And I was just kind of stuck there for a little while. So when I came back, I kind of noticed that I was vulnerable to the moment, and I just opened up. And at that time, I realized that, whoa, like this energy stuff is real. These scenes somebody may have wrote them and they came out the ether and they put it down on paper, but the energy is real. So once I learned to make myself vulnerable to the moment and just throw all the thinking out the window, close my eyes, get in a dark space, I could go wherever I wanted to go. I could be whoever I wanted to be, but it was me. It wasn't the detective. It wasn't, detective so-and-so on this paper or sergeant so-and-so on this paper. It was me. And all I had to do was be me.
Wow, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Do you give that, like, what were you doing in your life to, I guess, like, enable that experience for you? Like, were you doing something different? I mean, you said get into a dark place, close your eyes. So, I mean, was it almost like a form of meditation?
Definitely, because I threw all the distractions out of the window and I stopped thinking. And once you stop thinking and your brain just stops running, and then I was able to recite these lines. I'm kind of, me and you were both athletes. We're about reps. It's all about reps with us. And I was repping until I almost brainwashed myself into this moment. And nothing else, man. I wasn't thinking about my kid downstairs making all that noise, dribbling the basketball. I wasn't thinking about the wife, who's worried about what we're going to eat for dinner tonight. None of that mattered at that particular moment. And I was still, and it was just me. Nothing else. And it just happened. And
damn, bro. So are you able to get there frequently, or like, or do you feel like you don't need that anymore? Like that was the breakthrough you needed, or?
That was the breakthrough I needed to start chasing it, to start going down a rabbit hole. What was this experience? How can I get here more often? And it was simple. Just escape the world. Become silent. Sit with yourself. We have to master ourselves first, Jesse. Like, I have to know me before I can understand you. Like, we have to know us in order for us to understand anybody. So once I focus more on me, what is it that I like? What is it that I don't like? What is it that I do when I'm happy? What is it that I do when I'm sad? Like, what are all these quirks that I do when I'm nervous? What I do when I'm angry? All these different things, I had to analyze me. Now, when this road comes and it says, Sergeant is stern, he's this and that, okay, I understand all that. But if you put that uniform on me and I just be me, that's way more authentic than me trying to be Jesse, or me thinking, well, Jesse wants it this way, maybe Candy wants it this way. But no, if I just focus on who I am and what I can bring to this and just throw all the thinking out the window. That's the man. This here, like this can run us crazy if we focus on our heartbeat and just slow down and breathe, and just forget about everything else. And I think that's the key to just locking in on the scene. We have to have a great imagination, but it's bigger than our imagination. It's really about our heartbeat, the way we think, the internal conversations that we're having. If we could clear all that out, I promise you, you can open up that portal and you could be anywhere that we want to be if it's just for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. So once I started chasing that, of course I got into meditation. It led me to that. And the more and more I started meditating, the more and more I started grounding, the more I started cleaning up my diet, the more I got back in the gym with the right intentions, not to get swole and sexy for everyone to love me,
Right.
but to just become as pure as I can on the inside. And then once I kept doing the work, I just kept doing the work. Now it's a little bit easier, like I could close my eyes in my trailer and put myself there. A lot easier now. I know someone else can try to go and try that and was like, hold on, I closed my eyes. I did all that. Yeah, but that monkey in your brain is bouncing all around. You got to just let that bounce around and get it out the way till you're just still. And that's where the magic happens, man.
Dang, man, that's so good. And I mean, much easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
So for somebody that's like, wow, this sounds dope. And I understand, I heard you just said like, all right, the monkey might be bouncing around. But if I'm like, all right, I like that. I want to do it. Where do I start?
You start by going into a dark room, sitting in darkness. Like we're always doing something, Jesse. Like we're always chasing this, we're chasing that, we're pleasing others all the time. Like I'm a people pleaser. Like I'm just always trying to make everybody happy because I know what pain is and I don't want nobody to feel that. And then, so we can get distracted, with everything, but we don't really know us, right? So how about we just sit still, put the phone down, okay, turn the TV off, and let's just sit with ourselves for a little while. And it may take some time, right? We got all kind of thoughts. We worried about rent, bills, auditions, bookings, it's just all this. So you got to let all that just go away. You got to fight and just sit still and just give it 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes. You that was the worst 5 minutes ever. Okay, try it again tomorrow. And again, and again. And it's about to persist. And one day, between that third or fifth time, you're gonna go. You're gonna go somewhere.
You mentioned like the reps, right? And you talked about, I did it. It didn't really feel good. And like, do it again. There is a huge power in that consistency. We were talking about like with the podcast. You know what I mean? And people usually giving up. And that's not just with a podcast. That's with like so many things in life. And so. Because you've accomplished a lot, whether it be in sports or within film and TV entertainment, even with your body, right? And having a great body, right? So it takes that determination, that perseverance to really push through. For you, what drives you, or how can you reignite that fire for yourself when you need to?
I just always wanted to be the best. That's just my innate personality. No matter what it is, if you say, hey, we got to tie our shoes, Jesse, I bet you I can tie my shoes 100 times better than you. I'll be the best shoe tying cat up in here. And it's kind of a sickness in a sense. It's like, why do you have to be the best at tying shoes? I just have to feel like I'm the best, And so that goes with everything that I've done, from football to basketball. I would get up and train as hard as I could. I would rep whatever it is as many times as I could just so I could be the best. Even if I wasn't, I had to feel like, hey, I gave it 1,000 and my mate may have came in second, but I was the best that I could possibly good. Now I'm going to lose sleep because I'm figuring out how can I be number one. And it's got me this far, but I've learned to kind of dial it back a little bit. At times, it's just not going to be the best at everything, but I still feel like I have to be. So that's just for me.
Hey, are you a parent of a young actor? Then you're going to want to pay attention to this because Get Scene Studios has what we call our Rising Star program. This program is incredible. It is a monthly program that puts you in front of an industry pro every single month and focuses on what a young actor needs to be focusing on, which is auditions. So every single month we focus on either theatrical auditions or commercial auditions so they can be set up for success when they get an agent, or if they already have an agent, to really succeed at these auditions and even begin to make money at this. So we bring in different industry pros every single month and agents and casting directors and then work on those auditions. So if this sounds like something that you would like to get your child or a friend that has a child involved in, all you need to do is email risingstar at getseenstudios.com, and we will let you try your first month for just $1 a class. That's right, only $1 a class. All you got to do is email us, and we will get you all set up and ready to go to improve those auditions and then also get in front of those industry pros, because we are Get Seen. Thanks for watching. You know what's interesting about that? I feel like if somebody didn't know you and they're just seeing that, they're like, what a cocky mother. But I'm like, dude, you give off no like cocky vibes. I feel like you're such a humble, good dude. So how are you able to want to be the best, but then not essentially like, I feel like sometimes if you're trying to be the best, you're almost like kicking people to the curb, or you're like, you got to like step on people to get there sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like you're doing this in like a very grounded, almost like personal thing. You're like, I'm pushing myself. It doesn't have to do with you and me being the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is there any kind of thoughts you have about that you're like, I have to make sure I come off a good way about this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you know, I grew up, like I say, I always go back to this. Me and you grew up as athletes. And, you know, when you're the number one guy.
Hold on. Let's just be honest. Rico, way more of an athlete than me, all right? I appreciate this. You know, but I played my sports back in the day, but not like Rico.
But you played on a nice circuit, too. You played okay. All right, then you get nothing but respect from me.
All right.
All right. So going back to what you were saying, I come from an athletic background, right, where the number 2 and number 3 guy is always trying to eat away at you. You know, they want that number 1 spot. So I've always had people wish ill will on me, not because they hated me, just because they wanted that spot, And I know what it's like to have people, do you dirty or, step on you or push you to the back of the line on purpose, right? Because they don't want to see you shine. So for me, I just feel like there's a great abundance for everyone. If you win, I win. Right? Even if I lose, I'm still rooting for you because we're all connected. When I look at Jesse, you're just a reflection of me, believe it or not. When you look at me, I'm a reflection of you. We're all connected. So whatever I do and say to you is going to come back to me. That's just the way the universe works. Like if I leave here, Jesse, man, he this and that, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then a week later, I hear someone, Rico, he this and that, he da-da-da-da-da. Well, I put that out there, and it's going to come back to me. So even though I know I'm the best, I don't have to think it. I know it right off the rip. And I wish the best for you. So it's not, I don't have to push you down when I know that you're going to have your season, and I'm a root and cheer for you. Because when I have my season, I hope that you root and cheer for me. So even though I want to be the best, I'm only going to be the best for a season and a cycle. And then it's your season and it's your cycle. So
it's going to continue to come around.
Yeah, it's going to continue to come around. So I don't have to move where I feel like I got to, mess with this dude's head to throw him off his game. You remember how they used to do it on day. Yeah, you've been to L.A., right? You go and you standing in line and a dude, hey, man, where the hell are you from? You just try to get in your head to just, right? So I never had to play those games, man. I always felt like, once again, it goes back to the heartbeat. I have a great heart, but I know I'm the best. I may not be better than any of you guys, but I'm the best at what I do. And sometimes it takes a little cockiness, Sometimes you have to say, man, I'm better than everybody in here, just to build yourself up, right?
Right.
But it's never, I'm better than everybody in here. Let me turn my nose up and step on everybody so I can get to where I got to go. Because at the end of the day, you're going to pay for that. Whatever energy I put out to you or to Candy or this next actor, whatever actor, it's going to come back to me. So I don't want that. Not that I move like that. I just naturally have a good heart. I've seen a lot. I've done a lot. But I really want to do a lot more.
I love that.
Yeah.
Is there, this really comes down to a specific type of confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
How have you, and I think that's a muscle as well,
Oh, yeah.
How have you been able to strengthen that muscle? Because it seems very strong in you.
Yeah. Repetition, like, I don't know, this is weird. But I wear waves, right? I hate waves. I hate it. I hate the process of it. I go to the gym. Like, it's just reps, right? And do the wave thing because it's a self discipline act for me every day. You know, I gotta brush my hair when I don't want to. Who wants to brush their hair all the time? Like, you know, and I gotta put on a do-rag before I go to bed. That takes an extra 5 to 7 minutes out my night. And I don't want to do this stuff, man. But the discipline, the reps, you know, like I do at some point, I want to take off my do-rag and look good, right? So if I want to be good at something and I want to have confidence at it, I just gotta rep it all the time. And not only repping it physically, but mentally. You know, it's about the internal dialogue that we have with ourselves, the things we say about ourselves. You know, if we take the time to just jot down the thoughts that we have and the conversations that we have per day, you realize how many negative things we say about ourselves and to ourselves. Yeah. What if you replace that with, man, I'm the best to ever do it. I'm the best to ever do it. I'm a series regular, or I'm this, I'm that. I'm really good. You know, I'm getting better. Whatever it is, and you repeat it. Like, people don't understand the magic in, you know, in saying things out loud, you know, whether it's bad or good. And once I learned the magic of my words and the power of them, I really started to watch what I was thinking. I watch what I say. Even if I'm feeling down or I feel like, man, this is never going to, it's going to happen next week. It's just as simple as that. And the more and more I keep telling myself, the more I keep going to the gym, the more I keep brushing my hair, throwing on the do-rag when I don't want to, eventually it's just going to kick in and it's just going to be a way of life. Like, you know, when I walk out the house, like, if people could get in my head and see what I'm thinking, they're like, man, who this dude think he is, man? Like, you know, I almost command things. You know, when I walk out the house, I don't think about traffic accidents. I command that I'm going to get to Jesse safe and sound, and we're going to have an amazing podcast. And when I leave, I'm going to go get something to eat. And, you know, we're constantly projecting. You know, we're constantly astro projecting. Like, when we're done here, you probably have something that you have to do. Right?
Yes.
And you say you got to go to the grocery store. And when we're done, you'll sit here and you'll see the grocery store. You'll think about the items that you're going to grab. You have a quick vision, you run in the grocery store, grabbing stuff, and then you're going to come home. And life is just that simple, man. Like, I visualize me doing such and such movie with this person. I visualize me and I say it over and over and over. The next thing you know, guess what? I'm in the grocery store grabbing those groceries just like
Right.
And it happens. But if I allow myself to be knocked down by what I see at this particular moment, like I see, oh, I'm not getting auditions, you know, like we were talking, oh, I'm not doing this, and I get caught up in that. Well, that's not the end goal, you know? Like, this is just a moment in time.
Exactly.
Let's stay focused on the end goal.
Yes.
And, you know, that's just, once again, reps. Reps brings confidence, man. Like, you know, like my son, he's in college now, you know, and he was shooting 100 and 200 jumpers per day, but he was only shooting in the low 40s. But he's like, I want to shoot in the upper 50s. And so we took his workout up to 600 shots, 1,000 shots. Now he's shooting 60-something%.
Wow.
Right? It's crazy. So, but it took the reps, and he didn't have the confidence when he was doing 100 reps. He was second guessing himself when it was time to pull up for that three. You know, now he's making 600-700 a day. When he pull up for that three, he knows it's going in. Even if he misses, it felt good though. I just knew it was going in. Well, the next one going in.
Yep.
And that's kind of how this thing works. How this thing called life, it works. You know, like, we are more in control than we've been led on to believe.
Yes, man, I believe that so much. And, you're talking about the reps, and, I think about an actor that's, signing up for a class, coming in, trying to get an agent. They've been doing it for like a year or two, and they're like, so frustrated. And I'm like, you have so many more reps to do.
Oh my God.
Like, you don't even understand, like, not that nothing can happen, right? After a year or a couple of years. Like, I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's just like, you have not put the reps in. Like, you don't even know what you don't know. Like, there's a confidence there after the 1,000th audition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you just like, oh, but
Yeah.
you don't get it at 900. You get it at 1,000 or
Yeah.
whatever it might be.
Yeah. Auditioning is learning how to audition properly, and really feeling the audition. It's going to take a little while. You may get an agent right away, and if you've been working for a year or two, then I mean you're more than ready. You're primed. And for 2 years you've been grinding. When you finally sign with that agent, you won't have those rookie mistakes that someone else may have. So when you wait 2 or 3 years, this is my bad, sometimes it's an actual blessing. That's what I try to tell a lot of actors is like, hey, there's so much you have to go through before you can reach that breakthrough. Like it might only took you 10 auditions to have that aha moment where it may have taken me 1,000 and 1,500 to where I had that, oh my God, that's what it is, right? So it's different for everybody, but it's going to work out for everybody if you're thinking right and your heartbeat is right.
Dang, man, that is so true. And you bring up the I've had a breakthrough after 10, but like you got to keep having those breakthroughs. So then it might not be another 10 before the next one. And it's not like after 10 everything makes sense all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's some, but you have your intention right, you have your mindset right, like it will happen.
Yeah, I think
100%.
At that point, it could be difficult to have patience and to persevere at the same time, But, hey, you've been taking showers for all these years. You haven't stopped taking showers, So just get up and take a shower again tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I love it. So you've been on set a bunch of times. I'd love to know what project comes to mind where there was like a good lesson in there for the listeners.
Wow, Jesse, that's a good one because I've learned so much, every single one. Wow, I would say The Walking Dead, I watched a group of actors having to work, with those guys. I just watched how you kind of have to put yourself there and stay there, and I watched these guys put themselves in a dark place. I watched them put themselves in the apocalypse. I would just watch and I learned, how guys can just, really just put themselves in a place that nobody else can and can stay locked in for as long as you can. Now, fast forward to Life Size 2, working with Tyra Banks. I watched this lady do like 8 jobs at once. I mean, she was producing, directing, writing, just making dresses.
Dang.
I mean, she was doing all this, and it was time to action. Boom, she would just jump right in and just lock in. And I was like, how do you do that? Like, because she was working America's Got Talent at the time, and she's doing this, and she's designing dresses for her character, and she's making notes for me, and then boom. So fast forward again to The Resident, and I had a chance to work with Morris Chestnut. This is my idol growing up. And I'm sitting there watching this dude, and I'm in pure awe. And I saw then that there's levels to this, man. Like, although I thought I was the best, there's greatness, right?
Yeah.
And I sat there and I watched this dude just lock in this intensity, his focus. And I was like, man, how are you able to do this? And he was like, oh, man, just keep doing what you're doing, man. You'll get there, man. You got it. So we would talk, I would ask him a ton of questions. And at the end of the day, I figured out that you can't get to that level by just practicing. You get to that level by taking some losses and recovering from those losses and getting back on set and banging out again. And year after year after year. This was 30 years of greatness that I'm watching, sitting at this table, wondering how can I get there? It was just going to take time, a lot of love, and a whole lot of effort.
Yo, that quote is incredible, Rico. You don't get here by practice, you get here by losses. Like, because I think people forget that. And people, they don't want it. They're avoiding the loss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, no, I just want to keep practicing because it's safe and that's a comfort zone. And I've practiced and rehearsed before, so I'll just do that again, as opposed to, taking a bold risk and it not working out and you being like, dang, did I mess it up? Did I screw up? Like, but it's like, that was a lesson. Like, that was getting you a little bit better. That was getting you a little bit braver. That was giving you a little bit more courage for the future where you're really going to need this.
Yes,
and
sir.
that's that greatness. I love that. That's incredible.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But
awesome.
Man, I work with so many great, amazing people, but those are the ones that really stick out the most. Those are the lessons that I can, off the top of my head. Yeah.
One other quick thing I want to talk about with what you said was when you were like, I got there, and that's when I really saw there's different levels to this. Because I think no matter where you're at in your acting career, you think you're ready for the big thing.
Yeah.
Well, if you're like trying to get your first co-star, you're like, I could do guest star, right?
Yeah,
And if you've done like recurring stuff for co-star, you're like, I could do series regular. Like I had one of those moments when I was on 24 Legacy. And
I wanted to be on that show so
dude,
bad,
it was
man.
good.
Oh
It was
my
so
God,
good.
Jesse.
and I'm with I kind of all my scenes were with Corey Hawkins, and so him and I like exchanged numbers, and I was like, oh, like I'm like hoping I could like link up with this guy outside of set, and it's like I was like, oh, like I'm off on Thursday. He's like, oh no, I'm working on Thursday, and I'm like, oh, well, what you doing on Monday? He's like, I'm off, but I'm doing stunt training, and it was just like. All of this, it was like, yo, to run the show, like to really lead the series. And even when I was there, it was like, we're doing the scene, we're choreographing this scene, and then I'm like, woo, big day.
Yeah.
And he's literally just moving on to the next scene. Like completely different scene or different episode because they're shooting it in blocks. And it's like his mind, has got to be so sharp. He's got to know everything. And I was like, dang, like I thought I put it in today with us running around and, doing the fight scene and having the lines and the dialogue. And like, I'm tired. I'm looking forward to going home and chilling. And he's like going in for another 6 hours. And then tomorrow he's got to be the first one there and the last one out. I was like, yo, people think they're ready for series regular, but they ain't ready. Like, this is a lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Especially when there's fight choreography involved. You're going to put in an extra 10 hours a day.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
So to kind of go over that, like without discouraging people, right? Because again, I want us to be in that place of like, I'm the best, I got this.
Yeah.
But then there's also a level of like, but there's greatness.
Yes.
But there's the other level, right? So like, how can we continue to stay humble, in striving for that next level? You know what I mean?
Well, sometimes some people have to go through things to humble them, right?
That's true.
Some
That's
things,
true.
Because a lot of us, I've seen it. I'm sure you've seen it too.
Yes.
Never the A-listers for some reason. A-listers are always cool. But it's the B and the C-listers who on their way up, they somehow get lost in the sauce to thinking they're better than everyone, to think that they're higher and mighty, right? I've seen people fall from grace. I've seen people come to set and just be a terror, man, just a terror to work with, right? And I remember going on for a couple of years saying, wow, it doesn't really pay to be humble and cool because it doesn't work out for you. You just get pushed to the back. It seemed like all the a-holes, they get pushed to the front. So I was having this conversation with April Parker, great friend of mine. She's an amazing actress and a producer as well. So we was having this conversation. And as we were having this conversation, I opened my phone, and the two actors that I was talking about, man, they had took the biggest losses. They had just took some L's, man, to where no studio would ever rock with them again. And I was like, uh-oh. No one is bigger than what they think they are. Like, this could be taken away from us at any given time, any given moment. I was in a car accident in 2020. I was picking up my son from his game to take him to another game. He had a tournament. I was making a left turn, big SUV come down, flying down the road, head-on collision. I didn't know if I was alive for a couple of days. You know, it was an out-of-body experience. So what I'm saying is, no matter how high and mighty we think we may be, anything can happen, man, right? So you have to stay grounded and just be thankful every step of the way. So no matter, even though I think I'm the best, God, thank you for letting me have this mentality. Thank you for allowing me to wake up. Just be grateful, you know, like everybody's not going to be humble, you know, and everybody's not going to be super cocky. But if you can just try to find that balance, even you the most cockiest dude in the world, just be polite, you know, speak to everyone, right? Just be thankful that you're here. Be thankful to work. Be thankful that you're able to make 30 grand a week, whatever it is that you're doing. Just remain grateful. And once you do that, you know, it's kind of hard to be, you know, cocky and crazy. I'm this and that because, you know, I'm moving in gratitude.
Yes. That's awesome. You mentioned your family a little bit.
Yeah.
How have you been able to, or what have you needed to improve when it comes to the balancing of your career, you know, your mindset, also having your family, making sure the wife is happy, you're building your son up, all these things.
Yeah.
What have you learned along the way that you've maybe needed to improve?
I needed to improve my perspective in the beginning, because in the beginning it was about everyone else, you know, what everyone else thought of me. You know, I need everyone else to know me. I need to be the man. I want, you know, this, I'm that. I want everybody to recognize it. But, you know, it was really about the love that I was receiving inside the home. It was about my son, my wife, you know, being a family man. And it was about, that was the most important thing. And unfortunately for me, it took a very bad car accident to put things in perspective. Now, I was always a cool dude, right? You know, but I remember just social media. I post a shirt, you know, a shirtless pic. I need everybody to like it and love me. Yeah, look at me, right? And after about 5 minutes, you put your phone down, all that goes away, right? It doesn't matter, you know? And if you don't post, people forget about you, you know? So I kind of had to dial it back and recalibrate, because my wife used to always say, you know, why you care about what everybody else think? Like, why are you so worried about them? I think you're great. I know you're great. And I was like, you ain't the cast director. You know, you're not a producer. Like, I need them to think this, you know? And like once I got to that point, I was like, baby, you know what? You're right. Like, you're the only fan I need. My son, you know, my sons, y'all the only fans that I need. And once I locked in on that and started really, really living life that way, you'd be surprised what type of magic you have at that point, because it's more than just us. It's about the family and this love that I'm giving, this life that I'm living. I got so much in my bag now because of this, because I give so much, you know, and this is so important. So when I leave to go to set, I'm not going to set for me. You know, I'm going to set for the family, right? I'm not really, I don't care about what they think. You know, I just want a great body because I feel great. You know, I love the way it feels, you know, when I'm focused, and it just helps me throughout life, you know. So, you know, once I got all that out the way and just focused on my people, man, that kind of took me to another level as an actor, and I was able to focus on what really mattered, you know.
You know what's so crazy about that, Rico, is like it is a perfect illustration of like the quote that you said that I love so much, right? Which is like, to get to that next level, like, is you got to have loss. It's not just this practice, right? It's not just the bench press and the social media over and over. It was like this big loss in this car accident that you're like, wait a second, that at the time, right, you think is like horrible, like this guy hit me, I was, in the hospital, all this stuff, like feeling terrible, right? And you're like, actually, wait, that was actually the next step, the loss that took me to the next level of my mindset, how I feel about my family, how I feel about myself, my intention, all that stuff. But it comes from the loss.
Exactly, man. We get better from loss. You're a business owner. You're a successful business owner. I'm sure you took some losses along the way before you got to this point where we can have this beautiful setup. You can invite me to your beautiful office, and you had to go through something to get here. You didn't just wake up, hey, I want to do this podcast in this amazing space, and it happened a week later, 2 weeks later.
Oh yeah, no, it's so funny. I would bring that up to people. I'm like, you look at Get Seen or whatever, and you're like, oh, maybe someone might say like, oh, lucky or what, whatever they might say. And I'm like, you don't see all the things that I tried that didn't work. That
my God, right.
in the business graveyard in the back, like, that just didn't happen or didn't work out. And it's like everyone only sees the successes, and so they're like, oh, look at that. But it's like there's so many other things that didn't work to get you to this moment. 100%.
Yeah, and it's never for nothing though. Like sometimes, we feel like we went and got coached up for this audition. We repped it a million times. We did this and we went in for the audition and we killed it. It's the best audition we ever had, and you don't hear nothing. And next thing you know, you get an audition 2 days later, 9 pages. You're like, man, I just did 10 pages, like, and then you come and you do the 9 page, same thing, knock it out, nothing. And it's like, oh my God. But guess what? You just got 10 times better.
Yes.
You found magic in those lines. Like, it's never not for nothing. There's going to come a time when all this, you get to put it on display.
And it's the reps. It's the reps.
Yeah.
All right, so with year 2 of the podcast, Rico, where I brought in a couple random new bits here.
Okay.
And so you're getting the side hustle spotlight.
Oh, wow.
So what is something that through your acting career has been a side hustle that has like helped you with you walking the path and the career of an actor? And I think the side hustle spotlight is so important right now, because with where the contracts are, where the business is in a big transition right now, so we need these side hustles. I think they're really, really important. And so what put a side hustle in the spotlight right now?
Oh, man, my side hustle has always been training. I was always in the gym, changing everyone's lives. So for me, that was a side hustle, but I will say it did get in the way from time to time. It got in the way because I would leave the gym late and I would have an early audition the next morning. So for those of you who can't do that, you can always sell. Selling, buy low, sell high, right? No, really. I mean, that's the new side hustle for everyone, mentoring, ebooks, those type things. But for me, it's just I'm a hands-on guy. So, it's always been personal training has always been my side hustle.
And is that like, and I don't even know this about you. Is that like your own business that you have, or you're at a specific gym, or what?
Well, I rock out of a gym, but, I'm a independent trainer. So I don't work for the gym. I just pay rent at the gym. And
okay.
I train,
Dope,
I train other people. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I think staying on side hustles for a quick second, I think if you can get into a place. And obviously, work is going to feel like work on certain days, right? But if you can get a side hustle that, is either in the business or is serving and helping others,
right?
I think you're going to be in a golden place.
Yes, it has to be serving and helping others. It almost has to be. That way you could be sure there's going to be some success down the line. And once you secure that, then this becomes a lot easier, because we all know what it's like stressing over rent and bills and trying to audition. It just doesn't work. So the side hustle is key. You almost have to focus on that as much as you do getting the agent and auditions until you can relax and say, hey, I'm good. I'm good enough to maintain my career.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I think about it and I'll look at it. I'm like, I have been blessed enough to hit health insurance for the last like 10 years or something like that within the union.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it changed a few years back to $26,000, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, if you only made $26,000 a year, for one, you're doing incredible as an actor because that's such a low percentage.
Right.
But if that's all you have, your
Right.
ass is poor as hell.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's like if you're being successful as an actor, you're doing that, you're making $20, $30, $40, $50,000 as an actor. Then you also have the side hustle. Now you're able to make a good living. And it's like, I want actors, like I feel like everyone is in this like starving artist mentality of like I have to suffer for my art, and I'm like, no, let's all like go rent yachts together or some shit, you know, like let's like feel good and be great and like travel and do the things that we want and also do this acting thing at the same time where it's like we are living a life and there's a lot more to it than just let's be actors.
Yeah, I think the whole starving artist thing that's dead, man. You know, that's dead, and there's no way to live. You don't want to live like that. I've tried it, and it doesn't work.
It doesn't.
It doesn't work, man.
No,
not at all. So, yeah, if I had any advice for a up and coming actor, you know, that was new, you have to secure that side hustle. That's key. That's key.
Yep. What's been your being part of our working actor mentorship, and it's great to have you on board, man. So far, what have you seen as a common denominator for actors? I don't know if like needing to improve on or maybe needing to shift their focus, but what has seemed so far to be like a common denominator that comes up?
Comedy number that comes up off the top of my head would be life. You know, life kind of gets in the way sometimes. And, you know, it could be whatever. You know, it could be family. You know, it could be a move. You know, it could be something like that. But I do notice that once everybody kind of locks in, you know, and really focus, like we've seen a high success rate.
Yeah.
So I think the very few times that someone may have not had success is because they let life in the way, but life kind of gets in the way and it delays their progress.
It takes their focus. It's like
Takes your focus away,
Yeah.
which I have to understand. You know, you have to understand that stuff can get real out here, man. You know, but this kind of has to be a burning desire for you. You know, whether you got to go take care of, you know, my grandma is sick and okay, I'm gonna go take care of my grandma, but I'm not gonna just quit because this is in the way. Even though I'm taking care of grandma and I'm seeing that she's okay, I'm still thinking about everything that I need to do. So I'm gonna take 5 or 10 minutes, get on the computer, you know, maybe check, you know, flip my headshot, maybe correct my resume. You know, I'm still gonna stay on course. So, you know, if people can just not let life get too lifey,
yeah.
right, and just keep that downstream focus, everything will be okay. But life does happen, and it's a common denominator for everyone.
Yep. That's so good. How's it been for you?
Man, like honestly, I didn't think that I would be that good at it, right? Because of my personality, like I'm cool, I'm calm, but when it comes to this, you know, I'm like, hey, like, what are you doing? No, do this, do that, and I do it cool. But then it's like, you know, I can get a little frustrated at times. So with this, I've learned that I haven't got frustrated not once. You know, I really love the new energy. It kind of reminds me of when the Bungalow Productions first came. Like when Bungalow first moved up from Florida, right? You guys brought this new energy, man. And it was so attractive. It was almost addicting, right? I was one of those guys, I was kind of always considered a lone wolf because I just couldn't connect with a lot of tribes. You know, I would try and I just couldn't. but you guys' energy it kind of drew me in. I was like, yo, I got to be a part of this. I got to go tape with these dudes. Like, I would never party with actors, man. You guys are the first guys I ever partied
Really?
with. Right? Yeah. So it was like, oh, wow, man. And it kind of reminds me, like, when these new actors come in and we're talking, like, they give me, like, it's this breath of fresh air, you know, this new energy, this excitement, this wanting to be successful. And I didn't think that I would enjoy that energy as much as I do.
Yeah, I mean, and you've been so good. I mean, I knew you'd be great because, you know, I knew you had been doing, like, you know, the side hustle of the training. But I'm like, you know, Rico has already been mentoring people, you know, whether you think you have or not, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like in a slightly different way. And I'm like, but those tools that you've been developing, I'm like, you'll be able to apply them here and immediately be successful in our mission and what it is that we're doing to help these actors.
Yeah, I had no idea. Like, I mentored like 16 young men over the course of 4 or 5 years. They all athletes. 4 of them are playing Division I ball now. A couple of them are playing pro, and some of them just kind of moved on with life, you know. But having the opportunity to help raise these young men and really shape and mold their mental and their work ethic, and just seeing them progress, not only as athletes, but as young men, was extremely gratifying to me.
Yeah.
And then I got busy, you know, with the business. It really started working during the pandemic. You know, I didn't have time for that. I was a full-time actor for, you know, a couple of years, and it felt great. So a lot of my kids went off to school, you know. So now, you know, I'm not in the gym with as many athletes anymore. So, you know, to be on Zoom, you know, with these guys, you know, it just kind of remind me of all the athletes that I used to have. And it is, like you said, it's all kind of one and the same.
I mean, and that's awesome, because it's just like, if you know, and this is kind of what we teach for those of the actors that are listening right now, maybe looking for an agent, and it's like trying to find like one of your greatest appeals to grab an agent's attention is like, you know, if you have done something at a high level in one area of your life, like, probably means you'll be able to do something at a high level in another area of your life, right? And you gotta win.
Yeah.
You know, with these acting roles, you gotta be the best, like you've been talking about. You gotta be very, very good. And even when you're the best, sometimes you still don't get it being the best.
Oh my God.
You know, but with the idea of like, if you did something great in one area of your life, then you could probably do it again there. And dude, I mean, that's why you will continue to be such a great mentor within this working actor mentorship and continue to help people, because like you've already been doing it at a high level in something else.
Right.
Like literally you just now transfer so much, because so much of it is a mindset, so much of it is a dedication and like a how to go about things. You know, instead of doing a specific football drill, right? We're just like looking at a resume. Instead of doing a specific basketball drill, we're just like looking at the audition tape and putting in a thing there. So it's like you're just switching things out, but the bigger things that you are already good at is like what usually need to be taught, I think, you know, and you bring that in a really powerful way.
Man, thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad you called me, man. Yeah. Yeah, I really am, man.
Dude, it was awesome, dude. So, well, look, we gotta eventually get out of here. So it brings us to our spotlight sign off. 5 questions to end strong. You already brought up gratitude, which I love. So question number 1, what's something you're super grateful for today?
I'm grateful for my breath, man. I'm grateful for my heartbeat. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for my wife, for my family. I'm grateful for what's to come in our amazing careers.
Yeah. All right. I like it. What is a book, TV show, or movie that changed the trajectory of your life?
Ooh, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yep.
Manifest Now is a great book. A movie that changed my life. Wow. I know when I first seen Malcolm X, I knew then I wanted to be an actor, right? Really. So I would say those 2 books and that one movie has done a lot for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is something within your daily routine that you really cherish?
Wow. My breath work and my meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're super consistent with that every day?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Pranayama is my new thing, man.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my new thing. It's my new go-to. It's my new psychedelic.
All right.
Yeah, I don't need no liquor. I don't need no drug. I don't need anything. Just give me a closet and let me breathe. I'm good, bro.
Let's go. I love it.
Yeah.
Question 4 is, what's something you're currently trying to improve in your life right now?
I'm just trying to improve being a overall great man. You know, like I want to be a multi-millionaire. I get up every day pursuing that, not just so I can brag about it, but I just want to make sure that my family's good. I always felt like, you know, that was my purpose. You know, I felt like I've been told several times by different spiritual readers and all this that I was a star child, you know, and I felt like it was my duty to find that, you know, and to take care of everybody that I'm supposed to take care of.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And last question. We've gone over a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to make sure that the listeners got one thing for sure, what would it be?
You got to have confidence. Confidence is key, and confidence only comes from reps.
Boom. I love it. Rico Ball. Yeah.
Jesse!
So good to have you here, man.
Very great to have you.
Dude.
I'm happy to be here, man.
Dude, you're awesome, man. I love you, bro. Thanks again.
Hey, thank you.